When I was in college, a teacher gave me a book he said I had to read by a guy who I'd never heard of called Dave Ramsey. The book was called Financial Peace. He said, Jason, if you read this, you can avoid making a lot of mistakes that I made with money. So I consumed the book, became a huge fan of Dave Ramsey, and started listening to his radio program. And I've listened to it everywhere I've been and everywhere I've lived. Well, when I moved to this new district in Beaufort and Hilton Head, South Carolina, I was fortunate enough to find the Dave Ramsey Show in the afternoon when I'd go house to house making pastoral visits. And then all of a sudden, one day, I turned on the radio, and Dave was no longer there. I was a little bit upset, and I wasn't able to listen to the Dave Ramsey Show for weeks. Well, one Tuesday afternoon, or evening, after prayer meeting in Hilton Head, I was a little discouraged, wondering how in the world are we going to raise all the money necessary to build this new church at Beaufort. I turned on my radio like I always do, and to my surprise, lo and behold, it was the Dave Ramsey Show. I hadn't heard his show in weeks, and I discovered he wasn't taken off the radio. They just moved his show later on in the evening. So I was excited, and lo and behold, as I'm listening to the program, I'm learning about a sweepstakes that he's been giving thousands of dollars throughout the month of May. It was called 30K in the month of May. And so here I am listening to this show I rediscovered, and Dave calls someone up and lets them know that they've won $1,000. Well, I got to thinking to myself, man, wouldn't that be great if someone in our church could win some money and put it toward this building program? That'd really excite our congregation, maybe light a fire amongst our membership. And so as I was listening to Dave talk about the sweepstakes, he says that you could enter the contest as many times as you wanted. I said, wow, that's a little strange for a sweepstakes. You don't hear that very often. Well, that was the most I thought of it that day. And then the next day rolled around, and I'm in my apartment cleaning house, doing chores because I have company from Tennessee coming in. And then I got to thinking, wait a minute, while I'm cleaning house, I could go online and enter the contest a whole bunch of times, because if Dave is going to give some money this afternoon, maybe I could get on it just in time. And so this wave of irrationality got a hold of me, and I just got behind my computer and just started opening my web browser and entering and entering and entering. I was averaging maybe 4 to 5 entries per minute. And I was working on this for about an hour and a half between cleaning house. And then all of a sudden, some rationality hit amongst me. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not the only person in the United States who's got this bright idea. There's probably some kid living with mom who won't grow up and get a job at home doing the same thing, hoping he'll win money to buy an Xbox and a large screen television or something. So I figured, if my church members knew I was spending their tithe dollar entering a contest for over an hour, they probably wouldn't be happy about it either. And so I gave it a rest and went back to cleaning the rest of my house. But I left the Dave Ramsey Show on over the internet at 2 o'clock, listening live, hoping maybe he was going to give away some money that day and I'd hear my name. Well, the more I listened, the more I realized Dave wasn't at least giving any money away when I was listening to the program. And here I'm feeling I've totally wasted all my time, an hour and a half of my life completely down the drain. And so I thought nothing of it as my company came in from out of town until Friday morning. Just after we got done eating breakfast, our plans were to go to Hilton Head Island. They'd never visited there before. And all of a sudden, my cell phone rings. And I look at it, I'm thinking, 615 area code. I don't recognize that on my caller ID. And so I answered the phone. And this guy says, hello, is this Jason? Yes, it is. Well, hi, this is so-and-so from the Dave Ramsey Show. And about that time, I started jumping up and down in my apartment like I was a kid at Christmas. And he was like, no, sir, hold on a second. You haven't won anything. We're calling to let you know that you're one of 5 finalists who are going to win 2 prizes today. One is for $1,000, and one is the grand prize. He says you need to be by your phone between 2 and 4 o'clock this afternoon to receive a phone call. If you get a phone call and don't answer, you lose. If you get the phone call and you answer, act really excited. Well, I was really thankful and told him thanks and got really excited, and I began to immediately text message my friends back in my last district, began to email people, began to call people. I said, look, pray. Because the odds are pretty good that we're going to win something. And if we win something, whatever it is that we win, I'm going to give it to our church building program. So I had people praying for me because I'm thinking, the odds are good, 2 in 5 chances that we could win some money. So everyone was praying for me, but I had a dilemma. The dilemma was my friends wanted to go to Hilton Head Island while I just wanted to stay right there in my apartment and not move and hold on to my cell phone. And so here I am driving to Hilton Head Island with my cell phone as I'm driving, making sure that the bars are all what they need to be so I can get this phone call. And I couldn't really enjoy myself as long as we were with each other. I couldn't listen to Dave live on the radio where I was. And so I had a bright idea. Why don't I call my mother? She could listen online and she could call me if someone won the prize. And so I said, Mom, would you please just stop what you're doing, go to the computer, load up Dave Ramsey's show online, and if someone wins, give me a call and let me know that I've lost and I won't be so stressed out about this. And so as we were visiting on the island there, my phone rang. I checked the caller ID. It said Mom. I said, oh no, someone's won. Hi, Mom, how you doing? And she said, hey, honey, just want to let you know, no one's won the money right now. And I'm thinking, apparently she didn't listen to the instructions. She pulled that on me one other time that afternoon. So later on in the day, my friends and I are a little bit back in cell phone range, and we go to a public park to play basketball. And there the phone rings again. I'm thinking, oh, this is either my mom or it's Dave Ramsey. I pull out the phone again. 615 area code.
So let's see if the phone's ringing. Uh-oh, there it is. Man, my heart's beating. This is weird. I never do that.
Hello?
Is Jason there?
Yeah, this is Jason speaking.
Jason, this is Dave Ramsey from the Dave Ramsey Show. You're live on the radio.
Oh, my goodness. This is incredible.
You won $10,000!
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious!
Oh, my word!
$10,000!
Oh, my word. I've never won anything in my life like this. I mean, I'm speechless. You have made my day. This is like one of the best days of my life.
$10,000, man.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. Thank you. This is incredible. I just learned about the sweepstakes this week, and I'm a listener, but they moved your radio program to a later time when I'm not in the car, so I just caught it this week and just started entering, and I would have never imagined, but you know, nothing venture, nothing gains. So.
Right. Now, in South Carolina is where you are. We're not going to give your last name or identify the city because we don't want, people to call and bother you since you're now rich and all that.
I appreciate that.
But, oh, my gosh, man. So what do you do for a living?
I'm a pastor, actually.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I pastor two churches.
Very, very neat. How old are you?
I'm 31 years old.
Are you married?
No, unfortunately not. Still praying for the right woman.
Okay, well, we definitely not going to give out your last name now because these women will just be attracted to this money. So,
exactly.
Matter of fact, there's several jumping around in the lobby right now wanting details out here. It's Financial Peace Plaza is pretty alive right this second with a $10,000 giveaway. So, yeah, we'll keep your identity secret just because we want these women to have the proper motivation. Oh, my gosh. Congratulations, Jason. Very cool.
Thank you so much.
So what do you do with $10,000 when I give it to you? What will be your plans for this?
I don't want this to sound silly, Dave, but when I heard about this sweepstakes, I got to thinking, you're doing it for people, trying to encourage them to buy their homes and stuff, and I've already got a home I'm trying to sell. I said, our church, we're trying to build a church right now. We're renting from another congregation, and so I'm actually going to be putting the money towards that project. So
you're going to donate it to your building fund?
Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. I might do it as an anonymous challenge to the congregation, a matching kind of situation, but we're going to put it towards the building fund.
I have 5 million listeners. There's no chance you're anonymous now, even though I didn't give out your last name, okay? But nice try, Pastor. Wow, you're going to donate it.
I had this impression, and just as far as when I heard about it, and you were encouraging people to buy homes and stuff like that, I said, well, if I won this, I could put it towards building one of God's houses in the United States or something like that. And I'm hoping that it'll spark something within our congregation to believe that we can make this happen. Because we're kind of treading water right now. The economy's down, and people aren't really excited about giving because they're afraid of their own situation. So I figured if it came my way, that's grace, and I'll just pass on grace to someone else.
Well, that's pretty cool because since I'm a Christian, I don't really own anything. I just manage it for God, and so I just gave it to somebody else who didn't own it, and and now they give it away. And there's no telling what this is going to spark. You're incredible, man. I really appreciate you. Wow, Jason, $10,000 winner. Going to donate it. to build a church. I love this guy.
All right, when we heard the news in church, everybody like went, well, the next day I was on the internet looking for the story, about pastors winning. So I found the story, and they had the little thing, if you click on there, you can hear the actual tape between Pastor and Dave Ramsey. So I listened to it, and then I called the girlfriend, and I told her where to go, and then we were listening together and just yelling and just sharing. And then we recognized there's some blogs that people had written. So we started checking out all the blogs, and one person did say Pastor inspired them, and the fact that they thought that he was a good guy because he gave all the money to the church. But the story inspired each of us. And like I said, with my birthday winnings, monies that I got from my birthday, it was a toss-up between giving it to women's ministry or giving it to the building fund. So that's my toss-up. But it just inspired us that everything that we do, if we do it for God, God will bless, because in 2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 9 and 10, when the Hezekiah asked the king how come they had so much left over, and the king said, when the people started bringing the monies or bringing to the house of the Lord bless.
So he said, well, look, I'm going to give you a ticket and 2 other people in your church to come to Nashville and spend 3 days with my staff for our momentum training, where they teach churches how to teach stewardship and giving to their congregations. So not only were we going to get $10,000, but we were going to get some kind of training that could help our church over the long run. That was really exciting. And he told me that I was going to meet him. To me, that was better than $10,000. I was meeting a personal hero of mine. So after I got done with the conversation with Dave, I spoke with one of Dave Ramsey's representatives. And what he told me just absolutely blew me away, because when you think about it, I learned of the contest in the very last week of the month of May. I entered the contest on the very last day of eligibility. But then he said, Jason, you need to know something. We picked 5 finalists. If one person doesn't answer the phone, we go to the next person and the next person until we get a winner. He said, you weren't the number 1 person in the number 1 slot. You were the number 2 person to take the prize if the number 1 person didn't answer the phone. That means someone else out in the United States received a phone call in the morning with the same instructions that I did. They got the phone call and they didn't answer the phone. I couldn't imagine missing a $10,000 phone call. So that's like totally a God thing. I mean, to learn about something that's last week, to enter the last day, and for someone else to miss a phone call and for us to win, God's hand was totally in it. So Dave says he's going to send me and some of my church members to Nashville, all on him, all expenses paid. And then I learned of this, and then they told me the best news. They said, Jason, we're just going to cut the check directly to the church. That way it won't go to you, and you won't have to pay Uncle Sam any taxes.
Back in May, we were doing an online contest to help kind of stimulate the real estate world out there, with real estate being slow. And one of the things we did was we gave away $10,000. Our winner ended up being a guy who's right there in your midst, Pastor Bellew. Now, Pastor Bellew got $10,000 cash given to him by our company. We pulled him onto the radio, and one of the things, of course, when you give somebody $10,000, you ask them on the radio, what are you going to do with $10,000? This wonderful pastor said, unselfishly and humbly, I'm going to use it to build our church. I'm going to give it all to our church. He's donating a $10,000 gift to his church. That was a wonderful witness to our listenership nationwide. It was absolutely incredible. So we just wanted to take a second to honor Pastor Bellew and his mindset, his true stewardship of God's resources. Absolutely incredible. Not many people walk the walk. Some of them talk the talk, but not many of them actually walk the walk. We teach folks all the time that if you'll live like no one else, if you'll get yourself out of debt and be on a budget, later you can give like no one else. In his case, we gave him some money, and instantaneously he put it into the work of the Lord. So thanks, Pastor. You set a really high standard for the rest of us.